And thanks for logging on to the Daily DVAR Halacha. And here's a brand new halacha for you, and it's for Friday, 24th day of December, 20th day of TEVES. Today, we want to do this interesting question. If you ate a milchik meal and you had bread on the table during that milchik meal, some slices of bread, and some remaining loaf of the bread that didn't get sliced, and all of it was on the table during a milchik meal, when you put away that bread and clean up from the milchik meal, can any of that bread, the slices or the loaf, be then later used in a fleishik meal? You see the problem, right? The bread was out there during the milchik meal, and now you're having a fleishik meal. Is it safe to have any of those slices of the bread that were on a milchik table with the milchik meal? And also, is it okay to use any of the loaf that was unsliced during the milchik meal? So let me take you to the Shulchan Aruch while we see this, almost exactly this point discussed. Here's the notes where I got it from, but I want to show you the Shulchan Aruch. Misa achal gavina. If someone ate cheese, varotza lechal basar, and then he wants to eat meat, tzarich levaer me'al hashulchan. It's the Shulchan Aruch saying this. He must clear off of the table shiurei pas sha'achal, the leftover pieces of the bread that he ate, im hagavina, with the cheese. And now let's just stop there. It goes on to discuss other parts. But the Shulchan Aruch is clearly saying here that if you had a milchik meal and there was cheese, and now you want to go eat some meat, you better clear away the table and all of the leftover pieces of bread that were eaten with the cheese. Maybe you see where this is going to go. Rav Moshe Feinstein Zatzal discussed this exact point, and he said, notice how the Shulchan Aruch said that you need to clear away the pieces of bread that were eaten with the cheese. It sounds like from the wording of this Shulchan Aruch, which is based on a quote from a Gemara in Yerushalmi, it seems like that the Shulchan Aruch is saying that if there were slices and cheese may have touched some of those slices, then you better clear them away and you better not eat any of those slices when you have your fleishik meal. Rav Moshe Feinstein Zatzal said, though, it seems from that Yerushalmi and the Shulchan Aruch that if you wanted to eat that loaf later with the unsliced part with some of your fleishik meal, it might be okay, because we're kind of afraid that a slice of cheese ended up on one of the sliced pieces of bread. But how likely is it that any sliced cheese was sitting on the loaf? I mean, that's not how it works at a table. And the Gemara doesn't seem to be concerned with that. So Rav Moshe concludes this. He says, look, technically speaking, you might technically be allowed to have that loaf then go on to a fleishik table, technically speaking, because the Yerushalmi and the Shulchan Aruch only seem to be worried about a piece of cheese having been put on one of those slices of bread, but a piece of cheese wasn't put on that loaf of bread, probably. But the Rav Moshe Feinstein Zatzal concludes and says, you know what, to play it safe, what we should do is not have any bread that was on a milchik table then go on and be served at a fleishik table. It's just not the way we want to set ourselves up, because problems could happen. So generally speaking, that's what we try to do. Bread that was loosely lying on a fleishik table should not then be sitting on a milchik table later, and vice versa, because you understand things could have fallen onto the bread, fleishiks or milchiks, when it goes from table to table. It's not a safe habit to be in. So whatever bread you clear away from the milchik table should stay with the milchiks. Whatever bread you clear away from a fleishik table should stay with the fleishiks. And Rav Moshe Feinstein Zatzal seems to be saying that's the safest way to go. So that's what you should do. Thanks for logging on. I hope that wasn't confusing. I don't think it was. Have yourself a great Shabbos, and log on again after Shabbos for more. Bye-bye.